Hey guys, what is going on? We're making a little comparison video here for you. Today in Season 4, we are taking a look at the Marco 5 versus one of your absolute favorite SMGs, the MP40. Now this is an interesting little comparison here today, and taking a look at all the stats that we've gathered, they're actually quite similar, and they do perform in very similar roles, and they perform very similarly, and they are quite cool weapons, and they're both very powerful in Season 4 in Vanguard. Just before we do get into it here though, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. And if you do enjoy this one and it does help you out, make sure you leave a like on this one as well, because again, that does help grow the community. It helps cut through the YouTube algorithm and gets these videos to as many people as possible. So let's take a look at the Marco 5 versus the MP40 here. We've got a lot of statistics to go through. Let's start off here. Now, keep in mind, all of these statistics that we're about to talk about are going to be featuring the best class setups that we have featured on the channel previously. So when we are looking at these numbers, just keep that in mind. So starting us off, as we normally do, we're looking at the shots to kill with both of these weapons, and starting off with the Marco 5, we do have a 3-shot kill to the torso. I believe you can include hollow point on this and maybe get it to the limbs as well. In the MP40, again, you are also getting a 3-shot kill to the torso. Again, you can include the hollow point rounds to get that 3-shot kill to be a little bit more consistent. Again, the numbers here are very, very similar within their respective damage ranges, and not super impressive, but again, we will talk about that a little bit later on. To simplify this score though, we're going to say this one is a tie. So we've got the Marco 5 at 0 and the MP40 at 0. Now the TTK does come from the damage per bullet and the fire rate stat. Combining these stats does give us a time to kill stat in milliseconds. With the Marco 5, this does have 180 millisecond time to kill, which is actually quite impressive for this game. And the MP40 does have a time to kill of 174 milliseconds. Now, technically the MP40 is just a hair faster, so we would normally award a point to the MP40. However, the difference between these two numbers is negligible in a real game scenario. 6 milliseconds is really nothing again. So again, we're going to say this one is a tie as well. Again, Marco 5 0, MP40 0. The next stat that we do have here is the bullet velocity, which usually does relate to our hit detection, how fast those bullets do travel. The Marco 5 does have 458 meters per second of bullet velocity, and the MP40 does have 282 milliseconds of bullet velocity, which is not super impressive, but is pretty standard. That's about right for SMGs, as they are designed for close range combat and not fighting at those medium distances. So we are going to award a point to the Marco 5 for a little bit better bullet velocity here, and that gives us a score of 1 to the Marco and 0 to the MP40. So the next stat that we are taking a look at is of course the recoil control with both of these weapons. Starting off with the Marco 5, if we just sort of line up at this distance here, aim at the wall, and then take some shots. As you can see, the first few bullets are very, very accurate, and then it does have sort of a little bit of a noticeable up and to the right, but this is a very, very controllable pattern. And the first, say, 10 bullets or so do end up sort of appearing in the middle, sort of nice little bit of a grouping there, and then just sort of go up towards the right, and then it sort of ends up in there and is quite accurate again at that sort of point. But again, this is quite a manageable recoil control pattern. If we were to go to the MP40, we switch over to this bad boy, we take a look. Again, still a pretty nice grouping on this kind of thing. Again, a little bit up and to the right, and if you were to look at both of these patterns side by side, you would almost not be able to tell which one was which. Like, I mean, they're basically the same in terms of recoil control. I don't really think we can award a different point here. The MP40 does have a slightly shorter magazine, so if we were to fire that 32 bullets with the Marco 5, so I'll try and do that properly. It's about a similar number, and again, you can see they are very, very similar in terms of their recoil control pattern, so we're actually not going to award a point here. This is basically a draw in terms of recoil. They're both very easy to control, so we still have 1 to the Marco 5 and none to the MP40. The next one is the aim down sight speed here, and they're actually both impressive. Like, these are really, really good numbers here for both of these guns. The Marco 5 does have 166 millisecond aim down sight speed, which is really, really fast, and the MP40 is right behind it at 171 milliseconds. Again, the Marco 5 slightly faster here, but these are really too close to separate and could go down to frame rounding within the game. Similar to the TTK number difference, this is too close to call. We're going to go with another tie here. So again, Marco 5 1, MP40 0. The next stat is the sprint to fire speed. Now, the Marco 5 does have 192 milliseconds of sprint to fire speed and can be improved if you do include the Gung Ho perk, which we've not done on our class setup, but you can definitely consider that one. Now, the MP40 does actually really shine here at 158 milliseconds. Now, the MP40 is definitely faster here, and the lower sprint to fire speed is absolutely beneficial for the aggressive player who does like to rush with SMGs. In saying that though, the Marco 5 is no slouch in this category either, and is also perfect for the aggressive player with those insanely good sprint to fire speeds. So we're going to go with 1 to the Marco 5 and 1 to the MP40. The next stat is the magazine side, which the Marco 5 does dominate here a little bit with a 45 round mag. The MP40 we do go with a 32 round magazine though. This is the sort of fire rate magazine, a little bit bigger than normal, but the Marco 5 does have a 13 round lead over the MP40, which does allow for potentially longer streaks. And again, we do have another score here to the Marco 5 for having a larger magazine. So we do have the Marco 5 at 2 and the MP40 at 1. The next stat is the reload speed, and contrasting to the magazine size, we do have the Marco 5 at 3 seconds, and the MP40 does have a reload speed of 2.5 seconds. Now the MP40 is noticeably faster in terms of that reload speed, and this is usually a result of having the smaller magazine. Larger magazines like the Marco 5's 45 round mag are typically a little slower when it does come to reloading. So again, Marco 5 2 and the MP40 is also 2. Now, a stat that we like to talk about in these videos that doesn't actually count towards any score or anything like that is the theoretical kills per magazine. Again, not counted for a score, but I like this stat because it's dumb. The Marco 5 can get 15 kills per magazine. If you are getting those 3-shot kills, you land every bullet on somebody, you can get 15 kills. The MP40 is a little lackluster in this regard. You can only get about 10 kills per magazine. Now the Marco 5, as I said, does have 15 potential kills per magazine if you were to hit every shot in the chest within its damage range. Not an absolute standout like the old unnerved Whitley, which could get an absolutely ridiculous 75 kills per magazine at a 2-shot kill. However, this stat is just for a bit of fun, so we're not going to award a point for this one. The next stat is better proficiency selection. We do take a look at all the perks that we can get for the Marco 5 and the MP40. The Marco 5 does, of course, have the Akimbo, which is really cool. Does force you to change up your class setup a little bit, but we also can take a look at Gung Ho, which increases your sprint to fire speed, and Frenzy, which gives you health regeneration. Now the MP40 does have Brace, Momentum, and I guess you would take Unmarked as the third choice, but that is a little rough on the MP40. However, we would likely only use Brace on it anyway. Now the Marco 5 does overall have a better proficiency selection. Brace, however, is super strong on the MP40, but having the chance to use Akimbo SMGs in Vanguard is super cool. Plus Gung Ho might actually change one of our scores on the sprint to fire speed if we did include it in our class setup. I didn't actually take a look at those numbers, but it's a nice little boost. But because it is overall better in the Marco 5, we're going to give a point to the Marco at 3 and the MP40 at 2. Next one, a very important close range movement speed stat is of course the aim down sight movement speed, strafe speed when we are moving around with the aim down sight up. We do have the Marco 5 at 7.4 miles per hour, and the MP40 is a very close 7.3 miles per hour. These are basically the same number. You're not going to be breaking any land speed records with either of these weapons. So again, we're going to call a tie here because 0.1 miles per hour is not a huge difference at all. So the Marco 5 does have a score of 3 and the MP40 is 2. Now the last stat that we do have here, and it's not an impressive one with both of these weapons, is the effective damage range. Now the Marco 5 does have 440 inches, I believe, which translate to 11.17 meters, and the MP40 does have 448 inches, which is again 11.37 meters. The damage range on these things, nah. Both of these weapons do have pretty lackluster damage range of roughly 11 meters or so. We can still get our 3-shot kills to the chest within these distances, so rushing around and getting close to your enemies is super important here. I don't think we should award a point to either of these competitors here because, I mean, I can further than that. So again, we do have the Marco 5 at 3 and the MP40 at 2. So to finalize this here, according to our scoreboard, the Marco 5 does actually win our comparison here today, but I'd still like to say there's a good argument to be made either way for either of these weapons. Again, the scores ended up with Marco 5 at 3 and the MP40 at 2. However, if you do like the new Marco 5 SMG and you think it's fantastic, I wouldn't argue with you, but if you still love the MP40 because it is an absolute classic weapon in Call of Duty history, especially with those super clean iron sights, and you think that's the best option, I wouldn't blame you if you said that either. I'm a big fan of both of these guns. I think they are very fun, and it really could go either way in my opinion. Maybe the extra options on the Marco 5 might draw your fancy. Akimbo is very tempting. I feel like they should add that to all the SMGs in the game just as a nice little reward for sticking it out with Vanguard. Anyway, if you did enjoy this little comparison video here today and you do want to see me make more stuff like this, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with the notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. And again, leave a like on this one as well if you did enjoy this, because it really does help get these videos to as many people as possible, helps cut through the YouTube algorithm, and helps grow our little community as well. Again, thanks for watching this one, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!